My name is Nathan Ferrell. I am a web design student at UVU. I've always been an artistically minded individual, but I was never sure how to translate those skills into a career. So I looked into all sorts of different careers, and after a very long time searching, I stumbled across UX design, and it just seemed like the perfect fit for me. I love creating the visual design, but I also love creating the customer experience as a whole. It's really fun to think of how to optimize an experience and make it as intuitive and pleasant as possible. I've always been somebody who notices when there's a bad user experience, and so I think it'll be really fun to be able to make good ones in my career. I'm currently in school. I'm slated to graduate in 2025, and I'm also working on some personal projects to help build out my portfolio and get a little bit more experience. The value of UX design. So, UX design, in my opinion, is one of the most important facets of any business or service. If a company has poor UX design, the user's going to have a bad experience and be much less likely to return or recommend the product to friends. It's very important for a site to be easily understandable, intuitive, and visually pleasing so the user doesn't get frustrated or annoyed at all. The visual design is very important, but UX is more about what the customer experiences. Even if a website is laid out beautifully, it doesn't matter if the customer is having a negative experience. If they're not able to accomplish what they want to do easily, then they're not going to be having a good time, even if it looks really pretty. In my opinion, if your UI is good, the customer shouldn't even notice it. They should be able to get on your site, easily accomplish what they want to do without even thinking about the interface or the structure of your site. And keeping things understandable like this will ensure that users retain a positive mindset about your product or service. Another important part of the UX process is user research. So I always approach my designs from a user's perspective, but it's impossible for me to see it from everybody's perspective. I'm only one guy. So people are all different, and we want our product to appeal to as many people as possible. So this is where user testing comes into play. With this, we can see exactly what works and what doesn't work, and this reveals what we need to change in our design. And then we can iterate on this multiple times, continuing to test and improve until we've really optimized the design and made it into the best possible user experience. One of my projects. So currently I am working on a redesign of the EDAS website. This was a really challenging project for me. Usually I like to focus on keeping things, simple, really visually clean, but this wasn't an option with this project because there was a really large amount of information that I had to convey, and it's hard to keep things simple and understandable when you've got these huge walls of text. So I had to try out multiple designs until I found something that seemed to work well. The biggest thing I did in my redesign was taking all the rows of data and making them the same size, and then I had drop downs if there was a lot more information that needed to be conveyed. And I felt that this just made the whole page look more organized, and it was a lot easier to tell when one row of data ended and the next one started. I was also able to take a lot of the columns. They had information about the rows of data, and there were some that just could be easily consolidated, which simplified the whole thing and just made it more understandable, in my opinion. Another challenge I faced with this project was maintaining the usability and the function over the aesthetics. I really like it when things look pretty. I feel like it helps keep the page feeling professional and it leaves a better impression. But, for a site like this, designed to convey a large amount of information to people in the academic sphere, functionality is really what's the most important. It's better to have an ugly page that's understandable than a really pretty page that doesn't function correctly. But in the end, I think I was able to make the page look pretty good, even while keeping functionality at the forefront of my design.